What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be taking a look at Neptune in the 10th house and what it's like to have Neptune in the 10th house in your astrological chart. So, let's get into it. What is Neptune? Neptune is the planet of spirituality. It represents our dreams, our illusions, our fantasies, our imagination, so on and so forth. More importantly, how we should seek to spiritualize our life, okay? And the 10th house is the original house of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. It corresponds to career, success, public standing, okay? And I always like to remind people with the 10th house, it's part of your public persona. And that's why career is attached to it, because more times than not, what you're known for in the outer world is what you do. Alright, so Neptune comes here. We understand the nature of Neptune at this point, that it tends to create this fogginess. It tends to be like manifest where we don't really know. We have an idea of how we want to apply ourselves, but actually doing so becomes difficult. With Neptune in the 10th house, this is raised to like the 10th degree, depending on the circumstances. So what I've seen is that this can play out really well, or it can play out in a seemingly difficult way, but both themes are pretty much parallel. And the overall theme here is that the person, ego-wise, isn't connected towards a career or something that they really want to do. They look at, you know, the pursuit of success in that way as like, I've been there and done that. And more times than not, it can be indicative of this Neptunian person have achieved material success, right? So I like to look at this as an indicator. It can really show you a soul that is very much so here for the spiritual journey, and you know, career isn't that big of a thing, right? So overall, you have someone who's relating towards it in that way. But just to give it a little bit more definition, and where you'll want to look at other placements, being that this is the original house of, you know, Capricorn, and that corresponds to the father, your family structure, as well as the relationship with your father, is really going to influence you in a lot of ways. And what you'll find here is, regardless if the father is really present or not, the individual still might feel this hopelessness. So on one side, what you can have here, and let's say this is going with like a sun in the 5th house, right, or a really loaded 11th house, you may have someone whose father is actually an artist, or someone who is very important within the world and idolized in a particular way. So in one dynamic, what that does to that child is it can create similar to like a Chiron effect, a pressure or a disassociation with that, right? And what I like to do when I discuss Neptune a little bit more, I'll use someone like a Willow Smith, you know, as a great example of this Neptune in the 10th. Someone who was born into success, but grew detached from it naturally. It's like an intrinsic thing within your soul. So like I said, you can have that family structure that is very much so respected, and this is within all realms. So this can be seen from being a preacher's kid, or just someone whose family is a part of the church, well known within your culture or your town. All these different variations, right? And then the individual kind of gets lost, like, it's such a pressure for me to do something, I end up not really doing anything at all, or I don't unconsciously I sabotage myself going in that realm, right? And then on the other hand, you'll have the person who's a natural born dreamer. And this Neptune in the 10th, with similar positions that I mentioned added to it, can be very naturally talented. Naturally, a natural artist, a natural guru, like, you know, someone wise or projective of this Neptune energy, actress energy, all of this, okay? However, what their struggle is, or thing they'll have to overcome, is learning how to build. learning how to harness that potential, that dream, that structure, define the Neptunian dream. Okay? But then what happens is, like most artists just want to create. They don't want to deal with the business stuff. They don't, you know. But inside of this position, there's like divine timing. What I see is that, I don't know, when I meditated on this position, Tyler Perry came to mind. And it was revealed that at one time, like, Tyler Perry was homeless. And I just feel like throughout his struggles, he maintained this vision of what he wanted. And then when opportunity came along, he made the necessary choices to be able to manifest said thing. This is really paramount for Neptune in the 10th, people, because this, with it also being in the 10th house, it's like the universe is working with you. But and in the spirit of that divine timing, you have to be present enough to take advantage of the opportunities. Now, I can, you know, this a simple example could be with this Neptune, like an American Idol auditioning, right? The Neptune in the 10th person may believe wholeheartedly, I'm going to win this, or they may not. But it's a matter of giving yourself the opportunity to be there. And then let's say the magic will take care of itself. Okay? So being present for what you want, communicating it to the universe, and kind of just being in flow and getting there. So what are, you know, so the down, like I said, the downsides to this tend to be where the person feels like they don't have that support. So therefore they don't put forth the correct initiative. I'm just letting you know, whether you have it or whether you don't, it's still going to boil down to you applying the correct initiative to manifest and give the dream structure. Okay? So then another thing, you know, with this is, like I said, it can show coming from like a family where the people are very Neptunian. So they, in both cases, so they can be artists or they can be drunks and drug addicts. And there'll be something that kind of not necessarily defines you, but you yourself will take with you for better or worse. So it may influence you to never, you know, do drugs or anything like that because of things that you've experienced or seen. All right, so next thing with this position is it still plays in that spirit of divine timing. So I also like with this position, it reminds me, mind you, I've watched The Matrix recently, so it's been in my mental. But like Neptune in the 10th can be one of those positions that represent a sudden transformation, like a sudden spiritual awakening, right? So this can be someone who wasn't spiritual at all for like the first 40 years of their life. They went, you know, and just got a regular job, let's say like as a pharmacist, or like Neo as a computer person, and then spiritual awakening happens. But the thing with the Neptune in the 10th person is that there's a potential there where you're meant to be like a guide, right? So this can be someone who, like I said, was one thing for all these years, and then suddenly they're like a spiritual healer of some sort. The potential has always been there. It's just a matter of when it activates. So that can also be said in terms of like the career opportunities. Okay. I also want to say with this position that from my perspective, and this, you know, okay, like Neptune in the 5th house can definitely be like someone with talent, like they have talent, and you know, like something's there. Neptune in the 10th is tricky because it's like you may have the aspirations but not the talent. So this can really be the person that wants to be a singer but doesn't hear that they're not that good of a singer. So I'm saying that to say this, there can be a confusing aspect where this is very prominent these days. People are going into fields that their energy does not support, and it's because it's a confusing aspect here. So if you're an aspiring artist and you feel like, not even a matter of not getting that support, but you need real honesty. You first got to be able to really objectively look at yourself and tap into Virgo and dissect and critique your own work, but you have to be realistic about whether or not you are as good as what you think. Because remember, it's Neptune, so you can be eluding yourself here. Okay? So, it's a little bit about Neptune in the 10th house. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to chime in. Let me know what you think. If you need a reading, click the description link. Send me an email with set something up. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you can do so now. Till next time.